Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is your host, JC, Everyday Thoughts. Everyone gather around should be a good one today. Best for life coach, motivation speaker, a man of God, a husband, and a brand new father. So congrats to my wife and I. Today's topic is evaluation of Black love. Special guest with me today, Mr. Rick Wallace. Very pleased to have him join me this morning. So, Rick, how are you doing today? And give everybody, a little background about what you're about.
Hello, I'm Rick Wallace. I am the executive director of the Odyssey Project, which is directly focused in addressing issues within the Black community. I'm also the founder and CEO of Rick Wallace Enterprises, which houses a number of entities, including the Visionetics Institute, where I deal with everything from helping people cope with trauma to life coaching and the entire spectrum in between. My focus is being the best person that I can be so that I can help other people, but being aware of my humanity so that I can connect with people, which is immensely important to me. I believe in Black love as the core foundation of Black empowerment. I don't think we achieve Black empowerment sorry.
Oh, no worries.
And so my focus is a number of different things. I've been doing research for the past 30 years in my field of study, which is psychology and sociology, but also in finance, in politics, and in so many other ways that we are impacted in this world. And it is my belief that the marriage is the foundational institution through which we perpetuate the mindset of Black unity, Black empowerment, financial literacy, financial responsibility. It is where we socialize our young males into being Black men who know how to deal with our women, which is a major issue. I developed Black Men Lead as a rite of passage initiative, which is designed to socialize young Black males into Black manhood, which I think is a unique experience when we talk about manhood. The Black male experience creates a very unique experience. And so it's important that when we say manhood, we know that we're speaking of Black manhood, because there are a number of nuances that makes that responsibility unique. And so I think that is first and foremost something that we need to confront. And
Yeah,
so, I mean, that is the basics. So everything sort of comes out of that.
yeah, most definitely. I mean, Black love is everything. And I just felt like me being a newly married man, me and my wife, we've been dating for a minute. We got married almost 2 years ago, and we have our first child together. So it's really been, a blessing, first Black child. And I was the type of guy that, I've dated for Black women only. And that's kind of what I've been prone to date and what I'm really excited to, be with, because that's what I want to be with long term. And that's the thing about Black love. Black love is something that you have to have self-love. You gotta be selfless, you gotta be willing to give, and be willing to receive all that God has in store for you. And a lot of times as men, we don't really know the essence of Black women. A lot of men like to degrade women, talk down to them. But you gotta understand, Black women are clean, Black women are the reason why we can do this podcast, because we were birthed out of a Black women. And we have to make sure that we uplift and motivate Black women, because Black women is the heart and soul. And the thing I don't like about, as far as some men, is that they keep trying to put other races of women ahead of Black women. Oh, Black women, they got too much of an attitude. They always selfish or always stuck up. But not really understanding that other races of women have the same, if not worse, but we're constantly degrading our own people. So how can we expect to build, how we expect to have real love if we're constantly degrading our own women, a race?
I definitely agree with that. I'm 100%. I'm probably one of the most outspoken voices against the late Kevin Samuels. Again, despite being in opposition to the way he moved, um, respect to him and his family, rest in peace. I don't believe in stomping on somebody's grave or trying to attack them when they're not here to defend themselves. But I will say that I was very outspoken when he was alive. Uh, and I thought he was dangerous, not so much simply because of the vitriol and the approach, but because there were some truths into some of the things that he was trying to deliver, but because he was delivering it in a way that was demeaning, disrespectful, and degrading, I think that it missed the mark. I think it had no force. It didn't help anybody but people who had issues with Black women. And that's what that was his followers. Those were the people who really enjoyed it. You heard some women that would come along and agree with it, but as a person who literally works with people to help them be better, and part of my job is to tell them that you're not. And I've been doing it for almost 30 years now, and I've yet to do it in a demeaning and degrading way. And I have like a 99% success rate. I know there's a way to do it. So, there's a way to tell a woman, you might not want to do it this way. Maybe you need to do this. Maybe it's not working because, and then you take it from there. And there's a way to do that. But I think before we can really start talking about, as Black men, before we can start talking about what it is that Black women need to do, I think we must look inside of ourselves and search ourselves out and ask, what are we doing and what can we do? Are we healthy? Are we approaching it? Because number one is there's this ambiguous idea of what manhood is in the Black community.
Oh
you
yeah,
know
definitely.
you got to have the bag to be a man, and that's one of the things that Kevin Samuels pushed, is that the whole high value thing. And I think that I believe in a high value man. I just don't believe that his bank account is the only thing that brings him to that point. I think that there are things that are actually more important than his bank account. I do believe in a man being a provider, but I also know that a man has to start somewhere. And being that we don't come from a race of people that is passing down generational wealth, the truth of the matter is, statistically speaking, the average Black man is not going to start from a position of being able to carry a family. He has to develop and grow into that, increase his value in a marketplace that doesn't want to accept him. And that's still possible, but that's got to be the force. And to have that, you got to be whole, you got to be healthy. And so we need to be creating strong Black men. And I believe it starts with working with young Black boys. Well, I know it does.
Most definitely, it do start with the youth. That's one thing I'm aspiring to be as far as a youth counselor, because it starts with the youth, because I feel like the youth is the one that's most impressionable. Ones that are in their 50s, 60s, they already had their trial and errors, and a lot of them are kind of stuck in their ways. So you have to start from the youth and just teach them and train them so they can grow into be productive men. And the thing
Right.
about men is that a lot of men think about manhood is that, oh, hey, how many women have I slept with? Oh, how much money do I have? No, that's not manhood. Manhood is, can I protect, provide for my family? How am I leading them? How am I providing for them? Do we have lights on? Do we have food on the table? You know what I'm saying? How are we spiritually? Are we going to God? Are we praying daily? Are we, you know, having fun, good activities? Are we building lifelong, generational, activities? And ultimately, what is our legacy? What's my legacy going to be? You know what I'm saying? Like when the day when your death day happens, what are people going to say about what did you do from the time you were born to the time you're dead? What did you do between that period? That's what it matters. And you see
Right.
guys like Kobe Bryant, Muhammad Ali, John Lewis, like they're no longer here, but they last a long impression, and you have to be that type of man that, hey, he wasn't just here. He meant something. He impacted not just his life, not just other people's lives, youth, pastors, churches, different kind of organizations. That's the type of man you want to lead, the kind of legacy you want to fulfill at the end of the day. You don't want to be like, hey, I just existed. Hey, I just worked a 9 to 5. I mean, nothing wrong with that. Everybody's, core value, everybody's lifestyle is different, but you want to be more impactful, more meaningful. Like, hey, I really turned nation. I really tried to be really a good source of good source of leadership to our community. You know what I'm saying? It starts within the home first. It starts with, you know, having that relationship within your household first, and letting that dwell to the outside world. Because I feel like the manhood, his first priority is his family, God, or whatever kind of spiritual you lead in. That should be first and foremost. It's not about, having the new newest Jordans or the new designer clothes and stuff like that. I mean, that's all luxury stuff, but it's not going to be. You're not going to take that to heaven with you. You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
what are you doing right now to make sure that 2042, 2060, 2080, that your name is going to continue to live on and your legacy is going to continue to live on? That's one thing I think from my perspective that, manhood is all about. You know what I'm saying? It's not about the
Right.
flashy, I got a Royce Benz, oh, I got a Tesla. Like, that's cool,
Right.
that's great for right now, but what's your legacy?
Right.
What kind of impact are you making on the community and your family around you?
Right.
Thoughts about
Well, people who follow me will literally hear some of the principles and tenets of my philosophy and what you just said. Um, I have two doctorates. One is in theology, the other was in psychology. And so I have that approach to understanding things. I don't consider myself to be a religious man, but I definitely consider myself to be a godly man and a man who is very given to his purpose, his God-given purpose in this world. And I often say when I'm speaking that the first half of my life was about me. It was about showing people what I could do, what I could drive, where I could live, and I did it. We were at the cigar shop last night, and there's a lot of guys, they know, okay, he owns his own business, he's successful, but I don't do a whole lot of talking about my past life. But something popped up about something that I did in the past, and they wanted to see a picture. So I pulled up some old stuff and we got to talking. They're like, dude, yeah, this is what I used to do. And I tell people all the time, the first half of my life was about me. It was about all of that. But the second half of my life, until I take my last breath, will be about my legacy. The in the book of Proverbs, it says that a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children. And the automatic takeaway for most people in that is, I'm leaving them money, which you are supposed to. You're supposed to leave them wealth. But I think the best thing that a man can leave his progeny, his offspring, is his legacy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because your legacy is what speaks of you after you're gone. The legacy is why we still talk about Malcolm, why we still talk about Martin, why we're still talking about Jesus, why we're still talking about people who lived, I mean, whether we agree with who they were or not, they did something so impactful in the world that they left something that people are still talking. Alexander the Great. We can go back and we can just look at people who decided they weren't going to be average, that they were going to take what they had and they were going to put it in the world, and they were going to do something. Some of them were very misled. Hitler. But those of us who can focus and have a connectivity to God, there's something inside of us that guides us, the Spirit of God, that pushes us in a direction that we do what we're supposed to be doing. See, everyone, I can tell you I've worked literally at this point in my career, I've worked with thousands of people that span the gauntlet. I've worked with people who are extremely impoverished, come from extremely impoverished backgrounds, extremely wealthy, and everything in between. I've worked with people with Down syndrome, people with autism, people with other learning disabilities, ADHD, oppositionally defined disorder, depression, everything you can imagine under the sun. And I tell people all the time, I've yet to meet a person who doesn't have a gift. God gave every last one of us a gift. The gift is indicative of our purpose. The gift is what's going to facilitate our purpose. Again, Proverbs tell us that your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. And what it's saying is your gift will expand your reach, your gift will expand your influence, but it will also put you in the presence of people who will open the door for you to do the things God sent you to do. So the thing with Black men is, how do we want to build our legacy? How do we want to be spoke of after we're gone? More importantly to me, my legacy is, okay, yeah, I want people to know I came and I did some things that I should have done. But how is my legacy supporting my offspring down the line? What are my great grandchildren and their grandchildren benefiting from my legacy? You know, when someone says my name and my great grandchild, you know, is there, what does it do for them?
Yes.
How does it empower them? How does it say, man, I come from this. I don't care what you put in front of me. I come from this. And see, that's the beauty of being reared by my great grandfather. I was reared by my grandmother's parents. And so I had a man in front of me who literally grew up on a farm sharecropping with his dad. He was born in 1909. So his principles and focus and his idea of his masculinity was different than most people, the age of fathers, of my friends' fathers. He saw it differently and he taught me principles. And I think that there are certain principles that go into this legacy you're talking about, and I'll turn it back over to you. Number one is when I'm talking to men who understand God, I talk in godly terms. And I think that you definitely understand God. So I'm going to talk to you in the way if I was lecturing to a group of men. The first, everybody talks about the bag. Everybody wants him to be a six-figure earner, when my statistics tell me that the median earning, earning median for Black men is 44,000, and that only about 6% or less of Black men earn six figures. So all of that expectation that's being pushed primarily in social media and uneducated conversations is not realistic. It doesn't mean that any man that's out there can't get it. It means that that's not the available in truth right now. And so what are we going to do about it? Because we need to build wealth. We need to be able to take care of our families. But to me, in Black men, if you want to simplify Black manhood, there are 5 P's. And I've done it. The first P isn't provider. The first P is protector. He has to be able to protect everything that he's been given to cover. He's supposed to be covering her and the children physically, emotionally, psychologically, financially. He's supposed to be covering them. He's a covering. He's a protector. You can't get to them without going through him. That's the first thing that a man has done. And I teach young boys in Black Men Lead. I teach them that matter of fact, the number one principle, there are 11 principles of Black manhood that I teach in Black Men Lead. In that, the number one principle is that a Black man never causes harm to a Black woman, psychologically, mostly physically, never. Okay, so we teach them, but we teach them this. Number one is, at a certain age, when you're born, you and your female counterparts, your sisters, your cousins, your female friends, you are equal physically in every way. You know, in some instances, she might even be bigger than you in certain parts of your stage of your growing, 6, 7 years old. She may be faster. She may even be stronger than you at that age. But there's going to come a point in time where you leave that stage of childhood and you start going through what's called puberty. That's when you start to produce at a much higher level than she does a hormone called testosterone. It's going to make your voice change. It's going to also make you stronger, and it's going to increase your ability to develop muscle. And you're going to start outgrowing her. You're going to be stronger, and it's going to give you somewhat of an emotional edge. You'll be more inclined to engage somebody physically because of that aggression that comes with testosterone. I said, now let me tell you something. All of that I just explained to you, the strength, the size, the aggression, is not meant for you to turn it on her. It's meant for you to protect her. That's why you become stronger, because you are the physical protector. Before you're able to earn $1, you're already able to defend. So your first thing is to protect. Second, you got to be a provider. And how you define provider has to become a universal understanding, because there's this erroneous idea that if you can't spend 100,000 on your house a year, that you're not a man. And the truth of the matter is that you have to build together. You have to build together. You have to come together and you have to figure that thing out. Do you want to be at some stage to be able to tell your wife, if you don't want to do it, baby, you don't have to? Oh yeah, that's a beautiful thing to sit up and say, if you don't want to work, you don't have to. But you're going to find that she's got something in her that makes her want to do something. So she's got to have something she's doing. But that's two. So you have a provider. I mean, a protector, a provider. The next thing is a promoter. And people say, what's that? Say a man in his home is always elevating, excuse me, is always elevating and edifying the people in his home, his wife. You're beautiful. You're awesome. You're going to do great. Then he's out there telling other people, she's so awesome. She's so beautiful. She's so great. She does this well. Do you need this done? My wife does it well. And then it's with his kids. You're awesome. You're beautiful. Something I used to do with my daughters. I have 8 of them. Something I used to do with them when they were young, started with the oldest one, who's 30, she'll be 37 in September. So, walk by them in the house. As soon as they were able to talk and hold any type of conversation, say, who's the most beautiful girl in the world? Say, I am, Daddy. Say, and what can you do if you put your mind to it? I could do anything. The sky's the limit. And I would do that. If I pass by them in the house 5 or 6 times, it's, hey, who's the most beautiful girl? And eventually I got caught because I got more than one daughter. And everybody's like, well, why you say, well, all of you are. Let me tell you how. And I explained to them how unique they were, and their uniqueness made them beautiful in that area. And nobody was more beautiful. And what I was doing is I was instilling in something in them that they would need to know until they went out into a world that told them that they weren't beautiful, that this is what beauty looks like. And it's a skinny female, skinny white female. This is beauty. You know, your curvature. And forget the fact that the skinny person is trying to get your body. But this is beauty. Why? Yeah. Because we are the dominant culture. So we get to define everything. Well, so before my kids went out, my boys went out understanding. You go out and you have to have a business mindset. Even if you're working for someone else, you have to have a business mindset, because if you're working for someone else with a business mindset, you're not just working for them, you're learning the business. And you're learning how you can do the same thing. And you're starting to develop confidence that they're not better than you. Because the natural inclination to think is, if I go out and he's the one hiring me for the job, he's better than me, he's superior to me. And you start to see white people differently. I wasn't ever allowed to do that. I was like, hey, look, he's got that, I can have it too. Well, so you promote. In other words, you don't use your family to elevate you, you elevate your family. Okay, now here's where it gets deep. Number 4 is he's a priest. He is a priest. And what I mean by a priest, I don't mean it in the religious sense. I mean it in the spiritual sense. While if you have a spiritual house, a godly house, your wife pray every day. I tell you that. Women gonna pray. They gonna show up and they gonna pray. I'm not talking about that kind of prayer that she prays. I'm talking about the divine connection between the man in the house and the man of God. And God, where he's communicating to you and you're communicating to him, and you're asking for guidance, and you're putting a covering over every person that walks out of that house, so they are safe when they're not directly under your covering, that you're speaking into their lives. And that priesthood is the person who keeps the spiritual connectivity between the divine and what we deal with on earth lined up. That's your responsibility. You have to be a leader and a teacher in that area. Okay. And then the final thing is the prophet. And when I'm talking about prophet, I'm not talking about there's the office of prophet, and then there's the gift of prophecy. I'm not talking about the gift of prophecy in the sense of being able to see into the future and predict things. I'm talking about the office of prophet, where you speak things that God gave you over your home, where you literally speak into the life. You will be successful. You are successful. You will be safe. You speak into the lives of your family. Those are the 5 P's, the 5 major principles. Those are the things you build your legacy on. Those are the things that if you do that, you have a better chance. Now, you got to understand as a man too, though, that there is a consistent force that's going to be moving against you if you're operating in your godly gift. because you are a threat to the world as it stands. You are a threat to the system. You are a threat to everything that is not of God. You are a threat. And so you will come under attack. That's going to be a part of it. But you've got to know that you're not the person or the thing that's letting it in. And so that is, you know, when you talk about legacy, that is so important in being a man. It is the thing that extends you in your impact for your children. Because see, one day, you, like you said, one day is going to be the last day.
Yeah.
But if you live the legacy,
yeah,
that's why if you've heard me,
that,
I end almost all my videos with saying I live my life on full.
And I want to end on E. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a down E. Why?
Yeah.
Because I can't take it to the grave. That's what one of my mentors, Dr. Miles Monroe, he always said that the wealthiest place in the world is a cemetery. I've heard Les Brown repeat it, but it initially started with Dr. Monroe years ago. And he said the wealthiest place in the world is the cemetery, because what? You take your gifts, you unstarted businesses, unengaged opportunities, relationships not developed, books not written, companies not started, all of these things that you had in you that you didn't do because you were either afraid, paralyzed, worried about what someone was going to say, all these other things that'll stop you, and you didn't get out there and do them. That won't be me. That will not be me. If all my legacy may end up being is dude showed up every day. He showed up every day, even when he didn't feel like it, even when his heart was hurting, even when he said, I had 5 heart attacks in March of 2020. Now, since then, I've gotten myself back together. Now, the crazy thing is the first company I ever started is a fitness company. So I've been doing fitness forever. So I know what I'm supposed to be doing. But again, you get into your work, and when your work is research, you spend a lot of time doing what I'm doing right now, sitting. And so I got caught up, put on a lot of weight. I've dropped over 30 pounds since then, but I had 5 heart attacks. The reason I bring them up is the day I got released and came home, the next day I was in the office working. I am just like that. I'm not finished. There's nothing that's going to shut me down. And I've got a lot going on right now, but it's not going to shut me down. Why? Because I will say when I'm done that I gave it everything I had, that I gave my first of all, my wife, my family, my people, my work, my clients. I'm not showing up halfway. I'm not going to put in 25, 50, 60, 75, 80%. I'm putting 110 every time. You know, and so my thing is to a young brother like you and all the brothers that are going to watch this, there's a level of manhood that you can achieve that will speak of you after you're gone. And that's what you should be striving for.
Yeah, most definitely. Like I said, I appreciate, you say you had heart attack. I appreciate you being a man for your daughters, your sons. Like I said, that's what I'm trying to do with my life. Just try to be the best husband, the best father, best son. And me and my dad, we talk about legacy all the time. We actually made a video a year ago talking about legacy. And I always try to spend time with my dad. Grandfather, he was a great role model, great mentor to me and my dad. And I'm all about community, family, have a great relationship with my dad-in-law. We kick it. And like I said, we're looking forward to Father's Day next weekend. So really, appreciating my first Father's Day. So like you said, you're open, you want to die on E. So you got to put everything between your birthday to your end date. And there's no coming back. There's no like, hey, I wish I would have done this. I wish I would have said that. When they put you down in the dirt, that's it. There's no what else, shoulda, coulda, woulda. So you have to do it today. Don't wait till tomorrow. Don't wait next week. You have to do what you plan on doing, whatever God has for you to do right now. But yeah, though, I have to end this call. I have to get back to my wife and child. So I appreciate you joining me. So until next time, I'll talk to you later. I appreciate you for your time again. Until next time, I'm out. And once again, this is Rick Wallace. I appreciate him joining me this morning. So long. Appreciate you. Bye-bye.
Thanks. Have a good one.